Cave has made some of the best shooters that the shoot-'em-up scene has played in the last decade. Easily. Nearly halfway through the 2000s, they decided to release this gem into arcades and into the home market as well. The sequel to 2004's Mushihimesama Futari. In the Cave tradition, they went beyond the initial release, and the current version is 1.5. This sequel improves on everything that the first game was lacking, and also improved on everything the first game rocked with. The plot is essentially the same as the first game, but the majority of things have been altered. The storyline in the sequel continues where the first game ended. Reko was victorious in her battle against the forest god Aki, and afterwards, she takes his place as king of the beetles. While on a walk one day, Reko stumbles across an unconscious boy laying next to a dragon. This kid turns out to be Palm, and his dragon hero. Palm explains that his hometown is under assault by various Koju, so Reko decides to help him out by traveling to said village. Unbeknownst to Reko, Palm's village is actually being occupied by Queen Larsa, who is the mother of Aki, the final boss from the first game. Palm was tricked into bringing Reko back to his village, so Larsa could enact revenge on her for killing her son. So that's the story in a nutshell, and let's open another nutshell that is the game. For this review, I'm going to be using the 2010 Platinum Hits release, which is region-free. Luckily, the Black Label version of this game is available to US gamers on Xbox Live. I bought it when they still use Microsoft points, and it costs $1,200, so roughly $7 to $9. I'm not sure what the conversion actually is, but I'm going to be focusing on the Black Label mode for this review. I know you're probably asking, Aaron, you have the Xbox 360 version of the game, why not review the entire thing? Well, Black Label is my favorite version of the game, and to do all the other modes available might take a little longer for a single video. Besides, Black Label's total balls anyway. Now, the scoring mechanics present in Black Label are virtually the same as in the regular version of Mushihimesama Futari. For normal and maniac modes, you have the chain gauge in addition to collecting green and blue gems. The color of the gem as well as the size of the gems are still dependent upon the shot type, and whether the enemy is ground or air-based. Scoring is based on collecting an alternating amount of either blue or green gems. You start collecting green gems, then at a certain amount, there will be an audible sound effect, which alerts you to change to collecting blue gems. If you're ever confused on which color gem you should be collecting, the actual gem counter would be colored to let you know. The way the chain gauge changes is also still dependent on a fixed amount of gems collected. However, instead of the gauge changing at every 1,000 gems, it's been increased to every 3,000 gems for the Black Label release. So basically, you want to max out your gem counter at 10,000 and then blast everything to collect blue gems, which in any version of the game are always the scoring gems, while green gems are always the accumulating gems. In God mode, however, things are just a teeny bit more interesting and fun. In Black Label, you still accumulate gems, however, there exists a master chain, much like in the Dodonpachi series. Unlike Dodonpachi though, your chain doesn't decrease if you don't constantly kill enemies, as not firing for a second or two is paramount for high scoring in this mode of play. You have a maximum chain of 30,000, and any amount above 10,000, and your chain meter starts flashing. Also, since the switching between gem colors doesn't exist in this mode, it's entirely up to you to utilize either green or blue gems to your scoring advantage. You'll also notice after a second or two of tap firing enemies, your chain bar will max out and start flashing. While your chain bar is flashing, continuing to kill enemies with tap fire will release smaller green gems, while holding the shot down for directed fire will cause enemies to release large green gems. This only applies when the chain bar is flashing. When it isn't flashing, enemies will release mostly small green gems. On the flip side, in order to cause enemies to drop blue gems, which are the quote, scoring gems, you must allow the chain bar to completely empty and then fire. Killing enemies while the chain bar is empty yields the same results as when it's full, the gem color is simply changed. So, for maximum scoring in God mode, this is what you want to do. Tap fire enemies till the chain bar is flashing, directed fire enemies so they release large green gems, max out the gem counter, then let the chain bar deplete, then destroy everything that collect blue gems to increase your score. Whew! Did you get all that? Oh, I should mention too, you have to get used to doing all that, usually in a matter of about 3 to 5 seconds while your gem counter is near max, all the while dodging about 1,000,000 bullets. While God Mode, replacing Ultra Mode in version 1.5, is intended to be tough, there was one mechanic that Cave luckily added to your benefit. While destroying certain enemies, you'll notice larger bullet patterns will also be converted into gems as well. This doesn't apply to all enemies, usually stationary, larger pattern firing enemies. But this does come in extremely well in avoiding very dense, higher bullet count areas in later stages, as well as usually saving my ass personally in a lot of situations, as tons of bullets can be cancelled out literally by killing a single enemy. These larger, more dense patterns are also especially well with scoring. By waiting for the maximum amount of bullets from a denser pattern, then killing the enemy, all those bullets can be converted into large green gems. So, many a time, especially during a score attack run, you run the razor's edge of waiting for a large pattern to engulf the screen to kill that one enemy to save yourself from death, or do you take the safer but less scoring path of destroying them before the pattern gets too big or dense? This can be seen specifically, and mostly, at least by my playstyle, in Stage 2, where literally the entire stage is played out in slow motion just because of so much crap on screen. But it is a very good stage to practice on, both with dodging and scoring. The graphical quality of the game is outstanding. I'm using the HD version from the Xbox 360 release, so on a large enough screen you can really start to see all the little details that Cave added to the game, whereas if you play the arcade release at 1/5 the resolution, a lot is lost. Enemies, gems, explosions, and smaller items are all very well designed. The audio side of things is also really well done, with the soundtrack being composed by Cave regular Manobu Namiki. Pretty good fare considering the genre of the game. Stage 5 stands out to me as the highlight, with an interesting mix of traditional Japanese instruments combined with a pretty nice electro beat. The only annoying thing I can say about the audio, though, is that starting on Stage 3, the death scream for either character does become like nails on a chalkboard. The difficulty is pretty decent depending on which mode you play and your skills, although if you want to have any chance of doing a 1cc on God mode, you're going to have to lead the shot like a motherfucker. Overall, Mushihimesama Futari 1.5 Black Label is an awesome version of the game, and as I mentioned before, is really the only version I play for the most part anymore. To me, this version of the game feels the most balanced, and indeed is the most fun. The firepower, the enemies, the bullet patterns, it's all chaos, and that's why I like it. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, go check this region-free beast out. Oh, just a little side note too. If you ever happen to see the video on YouTube that was posted years ago that is the title of Hardest Boss Ever or whatever have you, that actually comes from this game and is the final boss in Mushihimesama Futari. Just in case you were wondering. Don't forget to check out my Twitch account for live shoot-'em-up action, my real-time playthrough videos, MAME Mondays, and other fun gaming videos as well.